All right, everybody, welcome back to the Champions of Small Business podcast. I'm Charlie Anderson. I'll be your host today, and I'm joined by Linda Gauvry today. Linda has a personal chef business called Taste Buds.
Yes.
You guys are located right here in Mechanicsburg, just like us?
We are actually, I'm cooking out of a kitchen in Enola right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. So, yeah, Linda's here today. She was kind enough to join us on this journey here, this podcast that we're still getting set up, and very excited to talk to you today. I love cooking. I love all things cooking, so I got some I got some questions for you on how you translate all of this into business and just everything that goes with that. So, yeah, let's get started though. Like, tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me about who is Linda? How did you get into this business? How did you, get into cooking? Kind of take me through all the steps here.
Sure. So I started the business about 10 years ago, and really what I came from, I have a master's degree in nutrition.
Okay.
It always seemed to me like there was such a disconnect between, the stuff that people know that they should eat or think that they should eat and what actually ends up on their dinner plate.
Right.
So for me, like, I always love cooking, loved anything culinary. So just to help bridge that gap seemed like a really natural progression for me. So I didn't want to work in a restaurant kitchen. I didn't want the hours. I wanted to be able to see my family.
Yes.
Didn't want to work weekends.
Yep. No nights and weekends.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the hard part about culinary. So I started doing this part-time when my kids were little, a couple of days a week, 1 or 2 days a week. And at that point, it was really cooking in client homes. So I would, when I would get a new client, I would develop a menu for them, go over like their food, whatever they needed to eat, whatever they wanted, types of foods they were looking for.
Right.
Design a menu specifically for them. And then on their cook day, I would actually go to their house, do the shopping, whatever, go to their house and prepare everything, leave it in the fridge,
Nice.
Ready to eat, heating instructions, good to go. So a few years ago, really COVID was, a change for a lot of people in how they did their business.
Yeah.
Everything shut down for a while. And once we opened back up, like it was just, complicated going into people's houses because people had different levels of comfort with, what they wanted to do. And, kids were sick or not sick or, no one really knew what was going on for a while there. So it was confusing. Yeah. And I started thinking about just ways that I could expand my business. I had a really full client load at that point, like 4 or 5 days a week. And, I was like, I can't, and I want to be able to expand this, but I can't do this on my own going into people's houses. So it took a little while to find a kitchen. There's a church in Enola, actually, that rents out their kitchen space. It's inspected by the state. So,
nice.
So we're cooking out of there right now. About 6 months ago, started in that space, doing the same deal, very personalized menus for all of our clients. I've hired some staff at this point, so we're just really getting rolling with expanding. So
congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So, I mean, this is a real, like, a legitimate operation here. You got staff people, you got a commercial kitchen that you're working out of. How was something you said earlier? So it's funny that like it's a topic every single time I sit down with somebody here, but COVID. Yes. Was COVID like a big thing for your business, or did it kind of draw things back a little bit?
It was good in some ways. I mean, obviously the shutdown was not good for anyone.
Right.
But once things started to open back up again, there was a lot of people who just weren't going out to restaurants, or restaurants weren't open.
Yeah.
So the in-home cooking thing became a lot more interesting to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of calls right after everything started to open up again. Lost a few clients maybe, but it kind of balanced out.
Sure.
Yeah, that was definitely, it was really bad for restaurants. But for personal chefs, with the kind of one-on-one individualized attention, I think it was really good in some ways. Yeah,
because, I mean, you think about, because, like, my initial, like, knee-jerk reaction was that it was probably good, because if somebody doesn't want to cook, I mean, they just order right in, essentially. Right. But no, that's really cool, and it's like a recurring thing. Like, everybody has a story with COVID on how it affected them, or whether it was a good thing or a bad thing. And I mean, I'm a roofer, so we were kind of relatively kind of untouched by it. Right. We had to shut down for a little bit, but it wasn't really like a big bothersome thing. But so you went to college for nutrition, and you got kids, you got all that. How do you traverse like having kids and having business, because I have two myself, and like I still can't figure it out between this and my business. Like I don't know how to figure this whole thing out.
It's really hard, and it's a day-to-day, who's going to take care of what, who's going to, my husband's been great with,
Good.
My kids are 4th grade, 6th grade, and 8th grade right now. So they're kind of at that independent enough to be able to do things on their own.
Yeah.
But they all play sports, so they all have practices, and they all have after-school stuff,
Yeah.
and they all have homework, and, the whole shebang.
Yep.
So I wish I had words of wisdom on how to effectively balance all that, but it's a work in progress.
Yeah, because it's such a thing that, like, I think it's good as us and, like, people like us that are in a position where we we have our own businesses and we're showing our kids being a positive role model and showing them that you can do anything that you want. But at the same time, it's like I feel like I miss so much time with my kids as a result of my business.
Yeah, and I think it's good too. I mean, they see the hard stuff about owning a business. They see like the late nights, and they see the just the kind of constant, sometimes can't get away from it aspect of it. So they know firsthand what it means, but they also see the payoffs. They see you get to work your own schedule a little bit, and sometimes they can take off in the middle of the day to go do whatever they need.
Yep.
So I do think it's balance. And my kids are great too. Like when I was cooking in client homes, when I would get home, they would unload the car for me because I had to haul all my equipment with me.
Yeah.
So, they help out in those ways. They'll
Nice.
come do dishes for me in the kitchen. They'll ride along sometimes when I deliver. So,
Very nice.
there are ways to kind of get them involved,
So
at least with what I do. So
That's a good
helps.
piece. That's a good piece of advice.
Plus, they like to taste test things, so they're always up for. Like,
I was just gonna say
recipe.
your household's probably awesome. Like
I don't
know. your kids get to try. Do you still even cook at home? Like
I do like to, because I like cooking for my family. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's some nights when it's chicken patties and French fries.
Oh, yeah.
Just to be honest,
Yeah.
there are nights when it all falls apart and just whatever's in the fridge is what they're getting.
Right.
So yeah.
I was kind of wondering, if someone that, like me, like I love food, I love cooking. My YouTube, my Instagram, every part of me is it's just the algorithms just deliver me food related content at all times.
Yeah.
I have nice stuff at home and I really enjoy being a home cook, but I feel like translating that into a business might be like a downfall for me. It would destroy my will or my love of cooking.
Right.
Do you ever find yourself struggling with that? Like to
Yeah. I mean, there are some days when,
you're like,
doing the dishes, certainly that's a whole nother
Yeah.
part of it.
Oh, yeah.
all the background work that you have to do in a kitchen.
Yeah.
The grocery shopping and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's just part of what you got to do. But honestly, I don't love going to the grocery store anymore at this point. I'm good. I've had enough.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, so and I think for me too, that was one of the challenges with starting this business, because I did it because I really love to cook and I really love food, and I like trying to adjust what people need to eat, because I get a lot of people with really specific dietary challenges, and it's hard sometimes to figure out how to make I can do meals for a week, but to do it again the next week, like to keep fresh ideas coming, that's a challenge. But translating those skills into not just cooking, but owning a business and all of the other stuff that comes with owning a business, like marketing, the financial stuff, like all those kind of things, like that's the hard part, at least for me. So the cooking in some ways that's the fun part. I still get to do that.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
All the other stuff that goes into business is not the fun part, but you got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to do it. Do you do it all yourself?
I have some help with stuff. Yeah.
You do? Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was the best thing I ever did for my business, was to step away from doing like bookkeeping and doing like, I still do a lot of marketing activities, but like that's the stuff I enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your biggest challenge right now, would you say, as like someone that's in business right now, and you're 10 years in, which is awesome, by the way. 10 years, that's a hard milestone to hit for a lot of businesses.
Yeah. And there's been a lot of changes with how I've run things and time progression and stuff.
Right, because you started cooking in your home, right, and then moved it out into like
no, I never cooked in mine, because you can't.
Yeah,
in Pennsylvania, well, with this kind of thing, you can't cook in your home and deliver prepared meals to people. You can do like baked goods, and there's some things that you can do, but for the stuff that I do,
how do big companies get away with it then for like delivering like ready-made meals?
Like meal delivery?
Yeah.
So they typically will prepare in a kitchen, an inspected kitchen, and then just deliver them. So it's the same idea as what I do, just a totally different scale.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. And there's people that sell foods at farmers markets. There are some foods that you can do that with legally. And
you skirt around the rules a little bit.
Well, the way I skirt it, I followed the rules, but the way I kind of skirt around it is if you cook in someone's home and the meals are eaten there, like then the state doesn't have to come in and inspect it. It's just in-home preparation for that client.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense. So yeah, like what's your as far as your business goes right now? Like what's the biggest challenge that you think you're facing?
I think it's time for one. Like
time.
There's just not enough time in the day to do all the stuff that needs to get done.
Yeah.
And trying to prioritize, what to do when. For me, just finding the help I need sometimes with like marketing or all the financials, all the stuff.
Yeah.
Like finding time to be in the business but still be out of the business and running it's a really hard balance.
Right.
We're not big enough that I can completely be out of the kitchen, not doing any of the hands-on type stuff.
Yeah.
So finding the balance between doing the stuff you need to do to keep the business running and actually like making the food and getting it to clients so you can keep the business running is definitely hard.
Yeah. Cuz it's you cooking all the food right now, right?
Or you have two chefs,
you have two
who
chefs
are working for me. Yeah.
Okay.
So one is mostly full time and the other is part time.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How many clients do you have that carry?
In a week it varies from like maybe 8 or 9 to probably like 11. I think is the most we've done.
Nice.
Yeah, so
that's awesome though.
Yeah.
And so the food that you guys cook, you're tailoring it to like specific dietary needs too.
Yeah.
That's like my wife and I did a meal delivery kit like way back when. It was like before, I think it was even before COVID. And it was nice. It was convenient, but one of the things I noticed is I was just eating a ton of butter and it wasn't a healthy alternative, that's for sure. So it sounds like the stuff that you guys do can be, you can force me to eat healthy.
Yeah. We try not to force people to eat stuff, but yeah. So
but if it's there, you're gonna eat it.
Right.
Yeah. It's having to cook it is the hard part.
That's where the customization comes in with, which you can't really get with one of the meal kit delivery companies. They all say yes, we're customized to whatever diet you want, but over time, like, you end up kind of getting the same thing. And I have a lot of clients that have said that. Like a lot of them have tried.
That's why we left.
The meal kit. Yeah, there's just not the variety.
That's why we left them. Yeah,
so.
It's like 36 meals total. Like when you break it down, there's like 30, or there might be more than 36, but it was probably like 50 meals, and you're like,
yeah,
I can't eat the same thing again.
When you're getting the same thing every 5 weeks, like you kind of start to notice there's a pattern with it.
Yeah, or it's some different iteration of the same. Instead of it being chicken, now it's pork this time, and then it's going to be a turkey meatball, and then it'll be beef, and then it's like. Yeah. Do you find those kind of places like challenging to like go up against, for your business, or like does it take away?
Yeah, I've had a lot of clients that have used meal delivery kits like that, and they kind of are like, this isn't really what we want. And the packaging too always gets to people. So there's so much packaging with them. And I think they definitely have a place, and they work great for some people. So not to say they're not workable.
Sure.
But one of the challenges for me too, just with doing like my weekly clients, like just keeping stuff fresh for them. Like it is hard to always come up with new ideas or something different. So that has been definitely a benefit to having a few chefs working for me, so we can bounce ideas off each other and come up with some new menus and new things. So
have you thought about using AI?
I have thought about it, but I haven't.
Like tell ChatGPT to write you a menu. I don't really like ChatGPT for a lot of things because I think it's impersonal, and I like the personal creative aspect to cooking and a lot of other things. But if you have 11 clients, 50 weeks a year, that's a lot of meals to come up with. That's a lot of weeks to come up with week in, week out.
Yeah.
I don't envy that whatsoever.
Yeah. It's a challenge sometimes. Mostly it's fun.
Yeah.
So we can always tweak old ideas. And it is interesting. So families in particular, everyone has menus or meals that they like that they want in the rotation on a fairly regular basis. So, and I think about my own family, we have standbys that we go to, just the stuff you don't have to think about. It's just the stuff everybody likes, everyone's going to eat. So it's fun to see what the favorites for different families are, because they are just all over the map with, this family likes this and this person likes this. And
what's the most common meal you cook, you think?
Besides chicken.
Yeah.
Everybody likes chicken.
Everyone likes chicken.
We have a few favorites. There's like a broccoli and cheese stuffed chicken that we do a lot.
Perfect.
We have a lot of salads that are on regular rotation that people really enjoy.
Yeah.
Simple stuff. It's not always super crazy fancy. It's just good food done well. So.
It's the simple things done with love and care because I looked at your Instagram before you came over, and I was like, this is like, because in my mind, like, I take something like this and I kind of compare it to something like a meal kit, which is very low quality ingredients, very kind of haphazardly. It's a meat, it's a vegetable, it's a starch, and then it's some version of a pan sauce every single time. Right? It's like throw in 2 knobs of butter and stir it, and then you take it off the heat, stir in cold butter. It's like it's the same damn thing. But I saw what you guys were doing. I mean, there's fresh salmon, fresh. I mean, everything looked like it was restaurant quality.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, like, seriously, it was. Yeah. Maybe your food photography skills are just really good. They're also
great
really
for that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do try. We try to get local ingredients whenever we can.
Nice.
So try to work with local vendors when we can to get what's available in season.
Very nice.
And we do work with our customers too. So some people want all organic. Some people want, it's not really a issue for them. So we do try to customize everything to that as well.
Nice.
Some people love baked goods. I always like that because I like baking things.
You do desserts too?
We do some desserts, a lot of muffins, like some, breakfast type things.
Stuff that's easier to like make in bulk and then package up.
Yeah.
Man, I'm getting hungry now.
It's almost dinner time.
I know, right? I should start doing this earlier in the day, because I'm sitting here like struggling right now. I have another recurring question on this show that I'm kind of trying to introduce here, but can you tell me about a time when a customer was wrong, but you had to pretend that they were right? Can you think of anything like that? I feel like there's always an interesting story behind these.
I don't know that I have a specific story, because I don't want to tell my customers.
Of course.
With food, it's a little different because it's so subjective.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's a good point.
Some people that, say that they want a thing a certain way, and then they're like, well, I really wanted it this way, or it was a little different than what I thought it would. I'm like, well, there's only so much we can do about that. I mean, if I tell you approve a menu, and then you're expecting something different, some of that is just communication breakdown.
Sure.
So sometimes that's probably on us a little bit more than on the client. But
right.
This job is really personal, so you really get to know.
You get to know people well,
because cooking for people is personal. And,
yeah, absolutely.
What people eat, there's a lot of emotional attachment to that sometimes. So it's some of my favorite clients are my older clients, because they just have so many stories about what they like or what they don't like, or I like this boxed cake mix because that's what my wife used to make for me, for awesome. The past 40 years.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I can do that. Like that's, that's what you love and that's what makes you happy. Then that's what we'll do.
Man, that's what makes that's what makes what you do so much more important than a meal kit or a delivery service that puts the meals together for you and you put all the ingredients together, or like the fact that you can tailor something down to a cake mix for somebody because it means something special to them. Because I mean, food is a special thing.
Yeah.
I know I was always the way I was brought up. It was like food was very personal. It was very like it was special to us. Like my family always, like my dad, always enjoyed cooking. My mom didn't enjoy cooking quite as much, but I think that's why she was with my dad, because he just took care of it. Yeah, he worked in like the seafood industry, so he was in with like he's still in it. I remember he would come home from work with like fish scales on his clothes, and they would like fall on the carpet, and like we'd pick them out. But no, I mean that's a really cool thing, and that's why think I kind of mentioned to you when we were messaging about this, like that's the point of this whole podcast is that when you use a local business, the level of service that you can get it's just that much is so much better. Not to put down large companies, right? I mean, these big companies have a place in society and they can help the masses. But on a personal level, like you're not going to get that from HelloFresh, or you're not going to get that from Freshly or any of these other meal kits. So I think what you guys do is super, super important to society, and I'm glad that it's working well for you. Yeah.
And it's nice too, just because of the relationships you can form with other businesses too. So the vendors that I can get some of my stuff from, like that, when I support them, when my customers support me and I can support them, like there's just roots that spread out a lot further than you think that they're going to.
Yeah,
so it's great. It's the beauty of small business and a community. Like you really support each other, and it's really great.
That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see happen here. As a roofing business, I don't get to really like put my feelers out for a bunch of other businesses here, right. But hopefully this podcast can kind of be a jumping point for that to help those businesses. But man, so is there anything you can think that like you kind of wish people understood about being a business owner or like running your own business that's kind of hard to convey?
Right. I think just how much business decisions affect family life.
Yeah.
So it's more than just you have a rough day at work and you come home and, life is crazy and you're just trying to deal with everything all at once. But, obviously the financial impact is huge for a family, but just the little stuff that clients do when they, when they have to cancel last minute, but they're like, hey, I'm so sorry. Like, so some of them are like, we won't cancel because we know that this is going to impact you, and it's not just, hey, I'm not going to go shopping at Target today, like that's, not really that hugely impactful on a huge company, but to a company like us, like it's a big deal.
Yeah. Every little bit matters.
Yeah, every little bit really makes a difference.
Yeah.
And it's, being able to pay my employees versus not being able to pay them, or being able to give them a raise, or being able to give them, what they're working really hard for.
Sure.
So I think that's, you feel responsible as a business owner for, obviously just your family and, the state of your business in general, but your employees and trying to make sure that, they're taken care of, and sometimes that comes first, and your family kind of gets a back seat. So it's a challenge.
You're so right. That's I mean your employees basically become your family. Like you take care of your employees like you take care of your children.
Yep. Your work family.
Yeah, it's your work family. But now these people actually literally rely on you. Right. If you're not able to perform or bring in the business or bring in the clients, like they don't get a paycheck.
Right.
And that's
it's
like
sobering, right?
It's sobering.
It feels like it's not like bringing a baby home from the hospital, but in some ways you're like, well, this is another person I have to take care of. And, the responsibility, it gets heavy, but there's also blessing to it, I think, to be able to say, hey, I worked really hard and this is supporting my family, but it's supporting this family too.
Yes.
And, this is what we can do. And it really, it makes you appreciate your clients a lot more
The people who do consistently show up for you week in, week out.
Yeah. And I think other small business owners understand that more so than,
very much so.
Everyone understands how it works.
Yeah. I have, I have a therapist that I see, and he just recently kind of branched out, started his own small business, and I was like, and my sometimes my days get away from me, and I was like, listen, man, one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to cancel on you. If something comes up, I'm going to do my damnedest not to cancel on you. I will always just simply reschedule on you because. Yeah. I know that simple, it's not even a large ticket, but it's, $85 or something. It's like
the little things. I mean, just the consistency of little income is a big deal. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if you're putting your plan together for the week that I'm going to see this many clients at this price and, okay, cool. Right. I can make it this week.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's kind of the domino effect of, your decisions matter to a lot of people. So.
Yeah. That's where I always get kind of frustrated a little bit because I see people write bad reviews for a business and for a small business or a large business at that, and it's something that's like kind of out of their control. Like you mentioned earlier, like if someone's like, I don't like salt and pepper on my chicken, but you put salt and pepper on the chicken, it's like, well, that doesn't mean that I cooked you a bad meal. It's just simply that, I'm sorry I missed your preference there, but you got to afford a little bit of leniency to someone who's literally handling all of it.
Right.
Like we had someone years ago write us a bad review for, I think somebody didn't like the way one of our guys was driving, but like, and there's a momentary lapse in judgment. Like it happens.
Right. Yeah. No one's perfect.
Like I've cut people off. I'm sorry. I really did. If you're listening, I didn't mean it. Like it was nothing personal, but it was plastered on our business for the longest time. And,
it's hard to escape those reviews sometimes.
Yeah. So. But, the effects are so far reaching, because one person could choose to not use your business because of that.
Right.
And I just think that's, not to sit here and just complain about it, but it's like a gripe of mine,
No, I get it. It's really frustrating because there's literally nothing you can do about it. You can always try to correct a real problem, but you can't always change people's mind about stuff that's not really a problem.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it's hard, I think, too. You don't want to micromanage your employees. Like you hire them, you trust them to do their job.
Right.
But you do worry, like, well, what if this person is going to like make a mistake or going to forget? So,
right.
There's always kind of that level of, letting people do their job and trusting them to do it well.
Yeah.
But you're still responsible for what they do.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the buck stops with you,
exactly.
Right? Exactly. It's challenging.
Yeah.
These are the things that like I didn't consider when I got into business, like, and especially employees. Employees is such a, like, I care for my employees so much. And, if you like, do you ever have those times where you feel like a bad leader,
Yeah.
And like those feelings of doubt kind of creep into your head and you're like, I can't do this for these people, like that's the stuff that I never really like, that's the stuff they don't tell you about on Shark Tank. A
lot they don't tell you about on Shark Tank.
Yeah. I used to love that show until I started running a business and I was like, no, this is not correct at all.
I'm like, it's too stressful. I can't watch it. It's too,
They just fast forwarded through all the bad stuff.
Right.
And they're like, oh, we sold our company for $1 billion.
Yeah.
That's not how it goes.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, I made $1 million in sales. I'm like, well, that's great. But how much did you
to
get that?
Yeah.
What was your actual profit?
Yeah, exactly. What did you make?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's something that in especially in like the roofing business, it's really difficult. Like people talk a lot about what they do in business. It's kind of like a chest beating, like I did this many million in sales. Right. And it's like, well, what'd you keep?
Right.
And I think to any business owner that's listening, like, don't worry about what you do. There's companies out there that do a quarter of what you probably do and make more money.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's really hard. You can't know someone else's bottom line until, they tell you. There's a lot of information you can put out there to make yourself seem like you're a lot more successful than you are. And sometimes that's fine. You got to do what you got to do, but yeah.
So what's like the, what's the next steps for you? Is there anything big coming down the pipeline, or you see yourself, grow into 6 chefs and servicing a larger area or anything like that?
Yeah, we would love to do that. Summers tend to be a little bit of a slower time just because people are on vacation, schedules change,
sure.
That kind of thing. So we're looking to open up more like catering options, like small group or corporate caterings, that kind of thing for the weekends or end of the week. We're usually pretty busy at the beginning of the week with just weekly meal service clients.
Yeah.
But the end of the week is a little bit more open for us. So looking to expand things there.
Nice.
It's the church that we're cooking out of is great. They've been awesome in letting us rent their kitchen space. But, at some point we'd like to have our own brick and mortar kind of place we can hang our hat for good and expand that way. So.
Would you ever open a restaurant now that you've been No, still wouldn't go for it, huh?
No, I would not. It's really just hours. Like, I want to spend time with my family. Like, my kids are only going to be young for, not too much longer. So,
that's right.
Yeah, I can't see that's the way I want to go. And I do like the knowing that the food that we put out is someone's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night dinner. Like that's just what they're eating the majority of their time. And I like that, to know that what we're putting out of the kitchen really matters. It's more than just like a one-off kind of a meal that you're going to have. So,
right. Yeah, you're sitting there eating you're eating dinner at night, and you're like, there's 11 people out there, or 15 people out there that are literally enjoying a nice meal right now because of me.
Sometimes that ruins your dinner, and sometimes not. You start to wonder, did I do that right?
Yeah. Do your kids help you cook at all in like in the kitchen?
They do.
Yeah.
They like to cook. Yeah, they like to help out with stuff, and honestly, I've got 2 boys who will taste test anything.
Yeah.
My daughter too. I should give her the credit for that.
Yeah.
Too. But yeah, they're guinea pigs a lot of time when we're trying out a new recipe.
Yeah. That's something I want to try to do, is like instill my joy for cooking in my kids, because there's something so cathartic about it. Yeah. And again, I'm coming from a person who does it purely for pleasure, not from business. You're probably like, shut up over there. There's nothing cathartic about it.
Some days.
Yeah, but yeah, I've in the back of my mind, I've always wanted to open a restaurant or be in the food service somehow. There's something like, I love that personal aspect to it, that you can make somebody's night and really literally release endorphins in their head if you give them a really good meal. Like you're doing something physically to this person that's helping them feel better. But that's really cool. So how do you, as far as like nutrition, you said you studied nutrition, right? Mm-hmm. There's, what do you do to like get people eating a little bit better? Like, do you sneak vegetables into people's food?
Chop up things really fast.
Yeah, so like you're feeding a 3-year-old.
I would try not to do that. So I won't give diet advice to people, because people have so many like medical conditions and stuff like that. Like I'm
Fair.
not, like, I don't know what's going on, so I won't tell them what I think that they should eat.
Right.
So most of the time when people come to me with hey, my doctor told me I need to do this, or like I want to try this particular whatever. Mm-hmm. If it's something crazy that like I personally would have moral issues with cooking, if I'm like, hey, that's not healthy. I can't, you can't live on zucchini and water,
Yeah.
I won't do that. But most of the time it's really just trying to work with whatever they give me, mm-hmm. and see what we can make for them that still tastes good. So, which is really hard sometimes, to be honest with you. And I think that's why people come to us like, hey, the doctor said should try to avoid onions and garlic and broccoli and, whatever. And then I'm left with like 3 vegetables that I think I can eat. And, what can I do with that?
Yeah.
Eat them every day and still try to be healthy. So, it's more of that kind of a challenge than trying to like sneakily make people eat the way that I think that they should, or something like that.
Got it. Yeah. Cause I wonder, like, for myself, even I have issues with inflammation, and my doctor's like, you should eat a diet that's low in things that don't cause inflammation.
Right.
And that list is
really
like, it's ridiculously long.
Yeah.
Like I won't eat anything if it comes down to that.
Yeah. And and I do have clients that have, there's like the autoimmune protocol diet that is really super restrictive at the beginning, and the point is just to kind of
introduce things
gradually reintroduce things. And I've gone through that process with a few clients.
Nice.
Which is really kind of rewarding to say, hey, we started here, and these are the things that we're adding in, and how's that working? How's it not working? Do we have to step back a little bit? So like that's kind of a cool process to be able to see if it makes a difference in someone's health.
Yeah.
So that's neat.
No, that's really cool. That's something that like I see myself even like utilizing something like that, because there's something in me that causes massive amounts of inflammation, but I can't quite pinpoint what it is. And when I try to do it myself, all of a sudden life catches up with me, and I'm like, maybe I'm just gonna eat my kid's peanut butter and jelly sandwich instead of like cooking something healthy, mm-hmm. something non that's not gonna cause inflammation. I'm just gonna house this peanut butter and jelly sandwich over the sink at 9:00.
Yep.
So that's what I need to get away from.
Yeah, it's hard, like, because time is a big issue for everyone. And then finding the time to plan, to shop, to cook, to clean up, like all that stuff.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
Yeah.
So that's where we come in to kind of, we'll do all the hard stuff, and you can just relax and
just do the easy stuff.
Yeah, and it is amazing to see how that makes a difference. Like I love that. Like I love when clients are like, "Hey, I felt good eating your meals."
Yeah.
And like I wasn't having stomach issues, and I have more energy and that kind of thing. So
nice.
It's rewarding.
Do you partner up with like a dietitian, like any registered dietitians or anything to like help throw you some business?
We haven't yet. That's something I'm looking into.
I think that'd be a good idea. Mm-hmm. I just this thought popped in my head. I'm like, oh, I wonder if that would be good.
Yeah.
You know?
Put out some feelers.
Yeah.
I know some of my clients work with specific people in the area, so would like to get connected with them.
Yeah.
See what we can.
If you guys are listening, reach out to Linda. Come on, let's go. Well, I think that's about all I have for you. I try to keep this podcast pretty short because I think business people are going to listen to it, and we're at 35 minutes now, so I'm trying to take up too much time here. But I mean, is there anything overarching that you would want people to know about Linda or about Taste Buds or anything that you wanted, if you could shout from the rooftops?
We really appreciate our clients. We really do.
I can tell you do.
Yeah. So
I really can.
It's personal for us, and we love cooking for our people. So
yeah,
happy to do it. It really brings a lot of joy to my life, to my employees' life, not just with their paycheck.
Sure.
They do like getting to know our people too. So
sure,
we love it. It's appreciate the business.
So you got a whole team of people that are just invested as you are in making sure that clients are healthy, happy, and well fed.
Yes.
Beautiful. Yeah. I love it. Well, how can people find you? How can they reach out to you if they're interested?
Sure. Website, Taste Buds Personal Chef. You can Google us. We're on Facebook, on Instagram, although probably not Instagram as much as we should be, but we're getting there. Facebook for sure. And the website, you can reach me. My cell phone or my email is on all those things.
Perfect. All right. Well, that is Linda from Taste Buds Personal Chef. Thank you so much. It was seriously a pleasure sitting here talking to you. I hope we can bring some business your way, but if nothing else, let people know that there's great options for food right here in your backyard that really is delivered by people who truly care. So I hope we can help you in some way, shape, or form. And thank you again.
Appreciate it very much.
Not a problem.